I invite you to join me in this chant. I'll sing it 3 times, and you can sing along no matter what your voice sounds like and harmonize to your heart's content. Nada te turbe, nada te espante, quien a Dios tiene, nada le falta, nada te turbe, nada te espante, solo Dios basta. Nada te turbe, nada te espante, quien a Dios tiene, nada le falta, nada te turbe, nada te espante, solo Dios basta. Nada te turbe, nada te espante, quien a Dios tiene, nada le falta, nada te turbe, nada te espante, solo Dios basta.
Friends, peace be with you. Good evening. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is good to be together this night. Friends, the ancient promise holds once again, wherever 2 or 3 are gathered, God is present. And thank you, Reverend Pam, for centering us this night. Nada te turbe. Let nothing disturb you. Let nothing scare you. Holy Ecumenical Maundy Thursday, to you, you are in precisely the right place, wherever that be on this holy night. Be most welcome. Be here, for we are together. The Spirit has warmed up these sacred spaces, these sacred Zoom squares, long before each of us logged in. And we give thanks for the technology that allows us to connect in worship across time and space. Maybe not so much time, but maybe if we're recording this, but certainly across space. And we give thanks to those who labor to make it all happen. Would you take a moment to breathe in and out with me? Be here, be now. Breathe in peace and breathe out love. Amen. Friends, this Maundy Thursday night is indeed holy, for it's a night in the midst of Holy Week, a week where we join in solidarity with the very pilgrimage steps of Jesus, and in so doing, we journey along with all who long for hope, for peace, justice, and liberation. Maundy connects us to that commandment to love one another, the one given by Jesus while gathered and gathering with his friends for what we call the Last Supper. That clarion call to love rang out on the very same night in which Jesus was handed over for sedition, arrested for falsehoods, falsely accused, unjustly incarcerated, and eventually knee to the neck, murdered on a tree, lynched of life. Before all of this, he instructed followers to gather to wash each other's feet, to serve and to love across differences and be nourished, to remember him. Tonight is holy because it is ecumenical. We remember that root word, being all together on one earth under one roof. Tonight we come together across 4 different congregations here in Boston: Common Cathedral, Old West Church, Emmanuel Church, and Church of the Covenant. Tonight we are not Episcopalians, Methodists, Presbyterians, Congregationalists, Catholics, Baptists, Quakers, Evangelicals, Post-denominationalists, Liberals, Conservative, people of faith, people beyond faith, housed, unhoused. For tonight, friends, tonight we are one. We are one with the things that make us different, sacred in those differences. We are one. Tonight we inhabit one place. We give thanks for those who inhabited the lands in which we stand and sit, those first people who inhabited these lands and those who continue as native descendants to work for justice and peace in these spaces. Tonight, we are one, for an injustice to one is an injustice to all. A joy for one is a joy for all. Tonight, we give thanks for this ecumenical partnership that started in 2015 when a bridge was closed, injustices visited among those experiencing homelessness in our own beloved city. This partnership emerged out of that chaos. And I have to say that during the chaos of this past year of pandemics, of COVID-19 and of COVID-16-19 and so many other hatreds, I have found such succor in the fact that we have come together as a group across differences, and we continue to do so. So I pray that however we move forward past these pandemics, we would remember our ecumenical partnerships that make us one. We learn about what a trisagion is. We don't sing those at Church of the Covenant. Thank you, Old West. We learn about stripping the altar. We don't do that at Church of the Covenant. Thank you, both Emmanuel and Common Cathedral. And thank you to those who are gathering and making tonight happen. From Old West Church, Reverend Dr. Sarah Gerard. From Church of the Covenant, Reverend Tom Reed, who is preaching and singing for us tonight, Reverend Joshua Lazard, and myself. Emmanuel Church, Reverend Pam Wernst, Reverend Isaac Everett, also Executive Director of Creche, our musician tonight. Kevin Neal, organist at Emmanuel, who played our prelude this evening. Reverend Bob Greiner, also from Emmanuel, reading our gospel tonight. And Common Cathedral, Sierra Mink, Executive Assistant and covering so well for Amanda Grant Rose during her much-deserved sabbatical. Our first reader tonight, Elijah Cariogia from BU, John Lane, Bryant D, John Lane again, Richard B, and Sierra. Friends, tonight's offering all goes to Common Cathedral, that incredible group that works on the rest of our behalf to love and serve alongside our city's most beloved. So as you see in your bulletin tonight, you can make a donation to Common Cathedral's collective ministry at any time. There is no particular offering set aside for tonight or a time for making that offering. So do it whenever you can. And if you're too disturbed by focusing in on worship tonight, that's a good thing. You can do it after the service tonight. I'd invite you, if you feel it's safe, to kindle a candle tonight, remembering to make sure you extinguish it in whatever space you are in tonight, reminding ourselves of the presence of Christ, the illumination of Christ. If you do not have a candle to safely kindle, you remember what a candle looks like, feels like, smells like. Remember that warmth, kindle it together as we are one this night, and give thanks for being together tonight. In our call to worship, the refrain will be, love each other just as I have loved you. Let us call ourselves into worship this night.
Good evening. We are having our call to worship outside here at Emmanuel Church, where so many of our programs are held. Love has looked different in the time of COVID-19, but we were reminded by Scripture today that love is a call to action, to radically devote our lives to the teaching of Christ, to love one another as God has loved us. So please, now join in the call to worship taken from John 13.
Tonight, we remember the gathering of Jesus' disciples in the upper room. He knelt down and washed his disciples' feet. Jesus' love abundantly clear as he humbled himself before his friends. Love each other just as I have loved you.
Tonight, we remember the joy of being with friends and family and eating together. Jesus' love abundantly clear as he laughed, ate, and drank with his friends.
Love each other just as I have loved you. Tonight, we remember the anxiety and fear of knowing a friend will soon be gone. Jesus' love abundantly clear as he sat with his friends who were frightened and confused.
Love each other, just as I have loved you.
Tonight we remember the grief and the deep sadness of losing loved ones. Jesus' love abundantly clear as he was taken from his friends.
Love each other,
just as I have loved you.
Tonight, we join together to remember the events leading to Jesus' death. But unlike the disciples, we have hope in knowing Jesus' resurrection is coming. Trusting in the abundantly clear love of Jesus, let us live out this commandment.
Love each other, just as I have loved you.
My heart and flesh may fail, the earth below give way, but with my eyes, I will see the Holy One. How long will you harass me and crush me with words? These 10 times you've humiliated me. Shamelessly, you insult me. Have I really gone astray? If so, my error remains hidden inside me. If you look down on me and use my disgrace to criticize me, know then that God has wronged me and enclosed his net over me. My heart and flesh may fail, the earth below give way, but with my eyes, I will see the Holy One. If I cry violence, I'm not answered. I shout, but there is no justice. The divine walled up my path so I can't pass, put darkness on my trail, stripped honor from me, removed the crown from my head, tore me down completely so that I'll die, and uprooted my hope like a tree. The Creator's anger burns against me. God considers me the divine's enemy. The Almighty's troops come as one and construct their siege ramp against me. They camp around my tent. My heart and flesh may fail, the earth below give way, but with my eyes, I will see the Holy One. God has distanced my family from me. My acquaintances are also alienated from me. My visitors have ceased. Those who know me have forgotten me. My guests and female servants think me a stranger. I'm a foreigner in their sight. I call my servant, and they do not answer. I, myself, must beg them. My breath stinks to my spouse. I'm odious to my children. Even the young despise me. I get up and they rail against me. All my closest friends despise me. The ones I have loved turn against me. My heart and flesh may fail, the earth below give way, but with my eyes, I will see the Holy One. My bones cling to skin and flesh. I have escaped by the skin of my teeth. Pity me, you're my friends. God's hand has truly struck me. Why do you pursue me like God does, always hungry for my flesh? Oh, that my words were written down, inscribed on a scroll, with an iron instrument and lead forever engraved on stone. But I know that my Redeemer lives, and afterward he'll rise upon the dust. My heart and flesh may fail, the earth below give way, but with my eyes, I will see the Holy One. After my skin has been torn apart this way, then from my flesh I'll see God, whom I'll see myself. My eyes see, not a stranger's. I am utterly dejected. You say, how will we pursue him, so that the root of the matter can be found in him? You ought to fear the sword yourselves, for wrath brings punishment by the sword. You should know that there is judgment. My heart and flesh may fail, the earth below give way, but with my eyes, I will see the Holy One.
After Jesus washed the disciples' feet, he put on his robes and returned to his place at the table. He said to them, "Do you know what I have done for you? You call me teacher and Lord, and you speak correctly because I am. If I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you too must wash each other's feet. I have given you an example, just as I have done, you also must do. I assure you, servants are not greater than their master, nor are those who are sent greater than the one who sent them. Since you know these things, you will be happy if you do them." When Judas was gone, Jesus said, "Now the human one has been glorified, and God has been glorified in him. If God has been glorified in him, God will also glorify the human one in himself and will glorify him immediately. Little children, I am with you for a little while longer. You will look for me, but just as I told the Jewish leaders, I also tell you now, where I am going, you cannot come. I give you a new commandment: love each other, just as I have loved you. So you also must love each other. This is how everyone will know that you are my disciples, when you love each other."
Please pray with me. Holy God, grant that the words of my mouth and the meditations of all of our hearts be acceptable and fruitful in your sight, our rock and our Redeemer. Amen. Perhaps it is my close proximity to the Jewish community through my work at Hebrew College and the conversations I'm blessed to have with my Jewish friends and colleagues, but I have found my mind returning again and again this week to the 4 questions of the Passover Seder, which are introduced with the Hebrew Manish Tana Halela Hazeh Mikol Halelot. Why is this night different than all other nights? To dispel any potential confusion, the scene depicted in our gospel reading this evening is not a Passover meal. Furthermore, the Seder our Jewish siblings observe each year in our time was an innovation developed over time in response to the destruction of the temple in 70 CE. The Seder we know today would not have been developed yet at the time Jesus was alive, and I am not connecting the Seder of today with the events of Christ's passion, just to be clear. Now, if you will permit me a moment of holy envy, to use the late Krister Stendhal's term, I want to lift up the importance of this question. Why is this night different than all other nights? And the wisdom of incorporating it into a spiritual or liturgical practice. It is easy for ritual to become routine and for us to go through the motions without having to think. While there is nothing explicitly wrong with that, and there can be a value to the cultivation of religious muscle memory, if you will, it can be a gift to revisit something familiar with fresh eyes and a renewed curiosity. It's also a good thing for everyone to know and understand the whys behind the things we do. I deeply appreciate the Passover's focus on teaching children this important biblical story of the Exodus, which serves to fulfill the biblical mandate found in the book of Exodus, chapter 13, verse 8. You shall tell your child on that day, it is because of what the Lord did for me when I came out of Egypt. So, in the spirit of interreligious learning, why is this night, Maundy Thursday or Holy Thursday, different than all other nights? For starters, it marks the transition from Lent into the holy season of Easter, one of the two primary seasons of the church calendar. According to tradition, tonight is also the first of the 3 days, or the Triduum as it is referred to in Latin, a single worship service stretching from Maundy Thursday to the Easter Vigil. Customarily, there is no formal close, i.e. benediction, to the worship services until Easter, and only the Maundy Thursday service begins with the usual opening components, such as a prelude or a call to worship, because we are still in worship despite it being Good Friday or Holy Saturday. People might also vividly associate Maundy Thursday with the awkward and often uncomfortable practice of foot washing, which, thanks to the magical power of Zoom, you will be spared this year unless you choose to put together a DIY version at home with those in your household. Feel most invited. This strange and seemingly anachronistic custom is a vestige from a time and place when sandals were the exclusive footwear of choice and dusty roads the only means of getting from one place to another, usually by foot. In discussing this passage and the custom of foot washing with a rabbinical student friend and colleague, I was pointed to an entry in the Jewish Encyclopedia which provides some interesting background information on this subject. Like many cultures, the sandal-wearing Israelites would usually go barefoot in the house, making frequent foot washing a necessity. Culturally, it was the first duty of the host to give his or her guest water for the washing of his or her feet. To omit this was a sign of marked unfriendliness. It was also customary to wash the feet before meals and before going to bed. The encyclopedia also notes from rabbinical literature that foot washing was a service, according to this, that the wife was expected to give her husband, no matter how many maids she may have had. And New Testament scholar Alan Dwight Callahan notes that foot washing at this time was service customarily rendered by a slave. Clearly, there are deep cultural threads specific to the time our story took place that complicate and complexify whatever meaning we are to bring out of it. This night also holds difficult contradictions. In the first verse of the Gospel according to the lectionary, which we cut out a little bit, we are reminded that Jesus knows that the hour is upon him and that his time on earth is rapidly coming to an end. He knows that he will be betrayed and denied by those closest to him, whom he deeply loves and trusts with his teachings, and who are to be the bearers of the good news for all people. We, along with Jesus, know the pain, torture, abuse, and excruciating execution that lie ahead for him. Yet, even in the midst of all of that darkness and dread, Jesus not only speaks of love, but demonstrates that love in a physical, embodied way, deeply infused with meaning to be read through the cultural background mentioned earlier, challenging socioeconomic and perhaps even gender norms of the time. Jesus, in all his glory and knowing all that he knows about his destiny and those dining there with him in familiar intimacy, rejects the privileges awarded to him by his status among the group and engages in a radical act of caring for the bodies of those he loves. Do you know what I have done to you? Jesus asks them. Notice he said done to you, not done for you. I'm not sure what to make of that, but it catches my attention. If I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also ought to wash one another's feet. For I have set you an example that you also should do as I have done to you. It is here we get this new commandment focused on foot washing, and tonight gets its quirky sounding name, Maundy, from the Latin mandatum, Thursday of the commandment. I have to confess that I am a little upset with the lectionary assignment according to the Revised Common Lectionary for today. If you notice in your bulletin, there is a rather large chunk missing from this chapter, 14 and a half verses. I have yet to discover why they are to be skipped over, but to me, there seem to be some very important details that are left out from the assigned reading. And note, I am pro-lectionary, I just am not happy with this one. In verse 18, Jesus says, I know whom I have chosen. And we are looking at you, Judas. And he notes that this choice is in fulfillment of the scriptures, citing Psalm 41. The one who ate my bread has lifted his heel against me. Then Jesus, we are told, is troubled in spirit and declares to the disciples, one of you will betray me. The disciples are described as uncertain, and one of them, the beloved disciple, even directly asks Jesus who will betray him. And Jesus very subtly says, again alluding to Psalm 41, the one to whom I give this bread I have dipped in the dish. And he gives the bread to Judas, who then leaves after Jesus tells him to do what he's going to do, and yet somehow the disciples still have no idea what is going on. I feel obligated to speak specifically about Judas here. He is such an important character in the Passion drama and is so easily maligned and vilified for his role in it. The gospel writer's use of the devil as putting into the heart of Judas his betrayal of Jesus does not help Judas's case by any means. But what I have learned from Jesus pushes me not to run to judgment of others, including Judas. The portrayal of Judas in Andrew Lloyd Webber and Tim Rice's retelling of the Passion story, Jesus Christ Superstar, inspired me long ago to restore to Judas his humanity and seek to understand the struggles he was going through in this tumultuous and dangerous time in first century Palestine, a territory occupied by the all-powerful Roman Empire. The stakes were high for rebels such as Judas and the many other followers of the radical Rabbi Jesus of Nazareth. We see this clearly in the severity of the punishment Jesus received at the hands of the empire. The people wanted liberation. They wanted their version of the Mashiach, the anointed one of God, the Messiah who would overthrow the powerful, bring vengeance against their tormentors, and restore their people on their terms. But Jesus was not that kind of Messiah. And God had a different vision for bringing about a new kingdom. Focusing in on the betrayal named in verse 2, one of the podcast commentaries I listened to while preparing this sermon prompted me to think more deeply about this betrayal spoken about in the text. What is Judas's actual betrayal? The commentator notes that Judas does not actually hand over Jesus. Jesus tells Judas to go and do what he does. And we know that Jesus has to be handed over to fulfill the destiny that lies ahead for Jesus. Jesus chooses this plan. Not easily, mind you, for we are told, again in the excised bit, that he was troubled in spirit. Consequently, Judas cannot be betraying Jesus by handing him over. The betrayal, according to this commentator, is Judas's leaving, his abandoning the relationship with Jesus and their community, and going out alone into the dark of night. I hadn't thought of it that way before, and that shift certainly hits me deeply. Love is an important theme in this passage and throughout the gospel according to John. Yet, for the writer of John, love is less of an emotion and more of a decision that leads to action. As New Testament scholar Ronald J. Allen notes in the Preacher's Bible Handbook, to love is to act in behalf of the good of the other and the community. Love is not something you feel, but something you do. And the doing defines the love itself in the one who does the loving. Jesus tells his disciples explicitly, I give you a new commandment that you love one another. Just as I have loved you, you also should love one another. By this, everyone will know that you are my disciples if you have love for one another. Jesus demonstrates this active love, this embodied love, by caring for each one of them personally, washing their feet in an intimate and tender act. He loves all of the disciples equally, even the one who we know will deny him shortly after this act of tenderness, and even the one whom he knows will bring the leaders to him who have been working behind the scenes to rid themselves of this perceived troublemaker, this threat to the general comfort of those who are benefited by the system, however unjust it may be. May we, in this second Holy Week disrupted and shadowed by COVID, be reminded of Christ's intimidating example of loving against the odds and even in the most difficult of circumstances. May we be brave enough to choose love in the face of hate, to remain hopeful in the shadow of overwhelming empires that take many forms, including systemic racism, transphobia, gun violence, and hate directed at our Asian American and Pacific Islander siblings. May we not run away from the pain of Christ's passion, but may we find courage to stay with him and remember to look at what unfolds through the hope and promise of the resurrection. Jesus loved all his disciples, and God so loved the world, the entire world, and we will be known by the love we show our fellow human beings, even those we don't agree with or who don't agree with us. The question is how, and that is the work that lies ahead of us all. Amen. And now, apologies if you've tired of my voice, but it's my job to lead us in our sermonic hymn for the evening. So please join with me, harmonize as you will, and let us lean into this beautiful piece, What Wondrous Love Is This? What wondrous love is this, O my soul, O my soul? What wondrous love is this, O my soul? What wondrous love is this that caused the Lord of bliss to bear the heavy cross for my soul, to bear the heavy cross for my soul. To God and to the Lamb I will sing, I will sing. To God and to the Lamb I will sing. To God and to the Lamb, who is the great I am, while millions join the theme, I will sing, I will sing. While millions join the theme, I will sing. And when from death I'm free, I'll sing on, I'll sing on. And when from death I'm free, I'll sing on. And when from death I'm free, I'll sing and joyful be. And through eternity I'll sing on, I'll sing on, and through eternity I'll sing on.
Holy God, holy and mighty, holy immortal one, have mercy upon us. Holy God, holy and mighty, holy immortal one, have mercy upon us.
Mom, I'm going to college. Amando Diallo, 23, February 4th, 1999.
So I guess call me back when you can. Sandra Bland, 28, July 11th, 2015.
I love you too. Sean Bell, 23, November 25th, 2006.
Why are you following me? Trayvon Martin, February 26th, 2012.
I didn't even do nothing. Sam Dubose, 43, July 19th, 2015. Holy God, holy mighty, holy immortal, have mercy on us. Officers, why do you have your guns out? Kenneth Chamberlain, 60, November 19th, 2011.
I don't have a gun. Stop shooting. Michael Brown, 18, August 9th, 2014.
You shot me. You shot me. Oscar Grant, 22, January 1, 2009.
Why did you shoot me? Kendrick McDade, 19, March 24th, 2012.
Holy God, holy mighty, holy immortal, have mercy on us. I can't breathe. I need a pump. Freddie Gray, 25, April 12th, 2015.
Please don't let me die. Kamani Gray, 16, March 9th, 2013.
I don't want to die too young. Christian Taylor, 19, August 7th, 2015.
I can't breathe. Eric Garner, 43, July 17th, 2014.
Holy God, holy, mighty, holy, immortal, have mercy on us.
Holy God, holy and mighty, holy immortal one, have mercy upon us. Holy God, holy and mighty, holy immortal one, have mercy upon us.
And now go to dark Gethsemane, you that feel the tempter's power. See your Redeemer's conflict. Watch with him one bitter hour. Turn not away from his griefs. Learn of Jesus Christ to pray. Follow to the judgment hall. View the Lord of life arraigned. Oh, the wormwood and the gall, oh, the pangs his soul sustained. Shun not suffering, shame, or loss. Learn of him to bear the cross. Climb Calvary's mournful mountain. There stand bravely at his feet. Mark the miracle of time, love's own sacrifice complete. It is finished. Hear him cry. Learn of Jesus Christ to die. Customarily, there is no blessing or dismissal in the Maundy Thursday service, as Tom explained in his marvelous sermon. Rather, there is an extended pause to keep vigil until the second part of the 3-day liturgy on Good Friday. Tonight, I invite you to keep your candle burning for a time of prayerful silence when you leave this service. When you extinguish your candle, let the darkness envelop you, remembering that in our Holy One, darkness and light are both alike. Good night.